Hello everybody, a warm welcome to the online spoken FTP on Advanced Communication Laboratory. Now we will see the experiment number 10, session 2, characteristics of isolator. Aim. The aim of this experiment is to study the characteristics of the isolator to determine the insertion loss, to determine the isolation loss. Isolator. Isolator is defined as a two-port device which produces minimum attenuation to the wave traveling in one direction and maximum attenuation to the wave traveling in the opposite direction. It is told that isolator is a two-port device. So it is having port number 1 and port number 2. So when the wave is traveling from port number 1 to port number 2, if it is providing minimum attenuation, then when the wave is traveling from port 2 to port 1, it will provide maximum attenuation. If there is any mismatch of generator output to the load, results in the reflected wave from the load. If this reflected wave is reaching the microwave generator, it will cause amplitude and frequency instability of the microwave generator. The isolator suppresses this reflected wave by providing maximum attenuation to them. Faraday rotation isolator. As seen in the diagram below, we can see that there is an input port and an output port. Resistive cards are placed at the input and the output. These resistive cards does not absorb the wave whose plane of polarization is perpendicular to them, but it absorbs a wave whose plane of polarization is parallel to them. Now, as per the construction of the Faraday rotation isolator, when we pass from the input side to the output side, we have a rectangular to circular waveguide cross section is there. So in between the rectangular and the circular waveguide, we can see a 45-degree twist is there. Then in the circular waveguide, we are having a ferrite rod. So this ferrite rod is providing a 45-degree rotation. Now we will see the operation of the isolator. Now consider the two cases. The first case is when the wave is traveling from port 1 to port 2. Then the second case when the wave is traveling from port 2 to port 1, that is output port to input port. Now we will see the first case, that is the wave is traveling from the input port to the output port. So at the input side, just entering into the input port, we can see the resistive card. This resistive card does not absorb the wave since the wave is perpendicular to its plane. Now the wave passes inside and it sees a 45-degree twist, and this 45-degree twist provides a 45-degree rotation in the anti-clockwise direction. Then after passing it, it reaches the circular waveguide. In the circular waveguide, it is having a ferrite rod. This ferrite rod provides us a 45-degree rotation in the clockwise direction. So put together 45-degree rotation in the anti-clockwise direction due to the twist plus a 45-degree rotation in the clockwise direction due to the ferrite rod. So put together, it is having the wave gets the same polarization as in the port 1. So the port 2's resistive card does not absorb the wave. It passes the wave. Now we will see the second condition, that is the wave is traveling from the output side to the input side. The port 2 passes the wave since the plane of polarization of the wave is perpendicular to the plane of the resistive card. Then we have the ferrite rod. The ferrite rod produces a 45-degree twist in the clockwise direction. Then another 45-degree rotation is provided by the twist provided in the structure. So put together, the wave is now becoming parallel to the plane of polarization of the resistive card. So the card will observe the wave. So this is how the isolator is working. So this is the working as already explained. Now S parameter of the ideal isolator. So due to the isolator working, that is isolator is providing minimum attenuation to the wave traveling from the input to the output side. Only one unidirectional transmission of the wave is allowed by the isolator. So it is known as the uni-line. Now as seen in the diagram, we can see that we are giving the input at the port 1 and we are getting the output at the port 2. But if we are giving the input at the port 2, we are not getting the output at the port 1. So this is a function of the isolator explained simply. Now this is a S matrix of the isolator. So as per the S matrix, we can see that S21 is alone present. For an ideal isolator, S12 will not be present. It will be equal to 0. Then S11 and S22 will be equal to 0 for an isolator. Now this is the experimental setup to measure the input. First we will be having the klystron power supply, then the klystron oscillator, then we will be having the isolator, then frequency meter, then variable attenuator, diode detector and the CRO. So by using this experimental setup, we have to measure the input and we have to note down the input. So this is the experimental setup to measure the output. All the other things will remain the same except an isolator is inserted between the variable attenuator and the diode detector. So this is a microwave workbench. So as per the block diagram explained earlier, the microwave workbench is set up. So this is a klystron power supply to provide the power supply to the klystron oscillator. So this is a klystron oscillator which is generating the microwave signal. So this is a klystron oscillator. So we will see the working of the klystron oscillator in short. The electron beam emitted from the cathode is accelerated by the grid and it passes through the cavity anode to the repeller space between the cavity anode and the repeller electrode. The feedback required to maintain the oscillations within the cavity is obtained by reversing the electron beam emitted from the cathode towards the repeller electrode and sending it back through the cavity. The electrons in the beam are velocity modulated before the beam passes through the cavity second time and give up the energy to the cavity to maintain the oscillations. This type of klystron oscillator is called a reflex klystron. The performance of the reflex klystron is specified as frequency range 2 to 200 GHz, bandwidth plus or minus 30 MHz, power output 10 mW to 2.5 watt. The reflex klystron are widely used as microwave sources in the laboratory, in microwave transmitters and as local oscillator in super heterodyne radar receivers. So this is a isolator. This isolator is formed by terminating the third port of the circulator. This is a frequency meter which is used to measure directly the frequency in gigahertz. This is a variable attenuator. This is known as variable attenuator. By using the adjustment provided in the device, we can vary the attenuation. This is the isolator. In the diagram you can see the two ports provided. This is a diode detector from which we will be detecting the output power. The output of the diode detector is connected to the CRO to measure the reading. Now we will see the procedure to determine the insertion loss. Now prepare the microwave workbench, that is without the isolator inserted between the variable attenuator and the diode detector. Now note down the input. Then in order to measure the output, put the isolator in between the variable attenuator and the diode detector, and the port 1 has to be connected to the input side and port 2 has to be connected to the diode detector. Note down the output. Next, the procedure to determine the isolation loss. Now prepare the workbench without the isolator, that is without the isolator connected in between the variable attenuator and the diode detector. Note down the input. Now put the isolator in between the variable attenuator and the diode detector. Now for the measurement of the or for the calculation of the isolation loss, we have to put the port 2 at the input side and we have to put the port 1 at the to the diode detector. Now note down the CRO output. Now this is a tabulation for our experiment, that is we have to connect the port 1 to the input side and connect the port 2 at the output side and obtain the S parameter S21. Now by using the S21 we can calculate the insertion loss. Now for the second calculation, that is for the calculation of the isolation loss, connect the port 2 to the input port and connect the port 1 to the output port and obtain the S12 parameter. And by using the S12 parameter, we can measure the or we can calculate the isolation loss. Now the calculation of insertion loss. So as per the readings taken, we can calculate the insertion loss. Insertion loss is equal to minus 20 log S21. So that is equal to minus 20 log B2 divided by A1. So B2 is the output taken and B1 is the input measurement. Now calculation of the isolation loss. Isolation loss is equal to minus 20 log S12. So that is equal to minus 20 log B1 divided by A2. Thus we have formed the or we have calculated the insertion and the isolation loss. By using the same experimental setups, we can form the S matrix of the isolator. So as already told, S matrix is a 2-port device. So it is having S11, S12, S21 and S22. So S11 and S22 will be equal to 0 as already told. Now S12 and S21 is a required S parameters. So S12 is equal to B1 by A2 and S21 is equal to B2 by A1. So by doing this calculation, we will be getting S12 and S21. So your S matrix will be equal to 0, then S12, then S21, and for S22 we can put 0. So this is a S matrix of your isolator. Now application. Isolator is used to shield the equipment from the external conditions on its output side. For example, to prevent the microwave source from being detuned by a mismatched load. Now thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Hope this video is an useful and an informative one. Thank you.